Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy Bringling. Namaste, friends. Let me welcome you for on Wealth with Purpose Mondays on Bringle Talks YouTube channel. Thank you for watching this. If you have not gone through my last Bringle Talks last week's on 10,000 crore engine or 10,000 crore fund, do watch it because that is going to help you out to understand about what is this whole fund all about. Just take 10 minutes to talk, to watch that talk at 2x speed. It's a foundation for everything we will discuss today. So let me tell you a story, okay? And I'm going to read that for you. And it's not about me. It's not about numbers alone. It's about a nation-sized heartbeat, the pulse of an ambition, ache of missed opportunity, and the urgent call to act before another decade slips in. Picture a young founder in a small co-working space in Gurgaon, Bangalore, or Ahmedabad. She works at night, coding, talking to customers, learning to sell, patching a product after midnight because she truly believes that her idea can change thousands of lives. She raises a seed round. The product finds traction. Customer loves it. But when Series A and B come, the term sheets that make the company fly are not from the hometown angels or Indian family houses. They come from overseas. Global funds that close in a day, that move quickly, that command market share and global networks. We have seen this story many times. Brilliant startups, but significant ownership and control, and therefore the larger share of wealth they create ends up outside our borders. The entrepreneur builds here, but the wealth multiplies elsewhere. That is not an accidental tragedy. It's a structural gap. It's a big structural gap. Imagine what it would feel like if those exits, those massive liquidity events, paid out in our communities, not just on foreign balance sheets. 10 lakh rupees invested in Zomato became 224 crores at the time of IPO in 11 years' time. 90% of that went outside the country. We lost more than 2 lakh crores in a single day, around 50% of our wealth of Indian investors when the IPO got launched. Because all the foreign investors exited. Imagine early employees, founders, teachers, local investors who build those companies waking up there with the capital to invest back into their neighborhoods, into schools, into more startups. Imagine the ripple effect, new jobs, new schools, new hospitals, cleaner energy projects, apprenticeship programs, all funded by capital that stayed and multiplied here, not went outside the country, not going outside the country. I don't tell you this to make you feel guilty. I tell you this because the opposite is possible. And the opposite is urgent. Consider another image. On a single market day, a thunderbolt, a large fractions of paper wealth vanish. Markets wobble. Values that took years to build can fall in a day. When the bulk of our future wealth is parked offshore or concentrated in a few hands, a single shock can take more than money from the nation. It takes confidence. It takes the quiet hope of millions. We have lost the first wave of 100 unicorns. But we have another 2 waves of 100 unicorns. 100 unicorns each is coming. India is expected to have 280 to 300 unicorns by 2030. Now, let's flip this frame to an opportunity. Every year, our diaspora NRIs send home hundreds of billions of dollars in remittances, around $120 billion every year. These are flows of love, of responsibility, family support. Imagine for a moment if a small fraction of those flows, just 1%, were redirected not merely into consumption or short-term instruments, but into building the backbones of India's future. Startups that create jobs and Sone Ki Chidiya Ko Jagao centers that create skills, health, and environmental resilience. If just 1% of that remittance pool was channeled into structured, properly governed pools, vehicles that combine venture investments into social impact, we're not talking about a modest fund. We are talking about the scale needed to build tens of thousands of jobs, millions of skills, training seeds, and a network of community hubs that last beyond any single grant cycle. And this is not hypothetical. People like you and me, parents, NRI, small entrepreneurs, teachers, when we pool small amounts sensibly and with governance, the maths become powerful. If 1% of the country invests 10 lakh each, result would be in trillions. 1% of our population. We would not be dependent on foreign capital for the next wave of unicorns. We would be the wave itself. Why 60% in startups then into the venture capital fund? Because startups are the accelerant. They create exponential value, products that scale, platforms that enable businesses, markets that employ tens of thousands of people. Yes, startups are risky. Yes, not every company will become a unicorn, but the portfolio approach, carefully curated, diversified, professionally guided is what turns risk into a lever for legacy. And that is how we get 100% success for our Series 1 fund versus 20% standard in the market. A handful of successes can cover many fails. And the net effect is massive wealth creation. And why keep 40% in SKCKJ centers or social venture fund? Because wealth without roots is volatile. Startups can create the wealth. Sone ki chidiya ko jagao centers create preschools, skills hub, health clinics, environmental projects, schools, anchor that wealth in communities. They create recurring cash flow, social trust, and human capital. Combined, the two sides make a powerful circle. Startups create wealth. सोने की चिड़िया को जगाओ centers create impact. I want you to feel both the desire and the fear. Desire of imagining your family freed from the paycheck anxiety because one income stream is passive, scalable, and anchored in purpose. Fear because imagining another decade of talent and returns flowing outward, but because we kept waiting for someone else to build the fund to take the lead. This is not about booms and buzzwords. It is about inheritance, the kind you leave not merely on people, but in schools where children learn to read, in clinics that keeps mothers safe, in green micro businesses that sustain villages. It is about giving your granddaughter or a grandson a world where she can start a company and see the value of her work benefit her community. There is an urgency here because time compounds. Startups takes time to scale. Ecosystems takes time to mature. Earlier we see this fund, the more likely the next wave of unicorns will see Indian anchors. Indian founders with Indian backers who stay through the long innings. The later we wait, more likely the best deals are taken, the more likely ownership slips away. And if you're listening now, wondering what you can do, you don't need to commit to the entire fund today. You don't need to commit to the entire fund today. Start with curiosity, learn, watch the 10 minutes Bringle Talks teachings every day at 2x speed if you must. And that is a must. Talk to one mentor, join a conversation, but do not treat this as just another broadcast. Treat this as a pass to a seat at the table, a table where ordinary people can finally be co-builders, not just observers. Let me close this with a small true story. Few years ago, an early employee at a then small enterprise in India sold a small part of his equity at exit. He used the proceeds to fund a local preschool in his neighborhood. That preschool, modest, lovingly run, taught dozens of children who then went on to better schools. A small ripple born out of a startup exit became a river for a neighborhood. The ripple could have been from foreign capital, but it might have vanished into global portfolios. Instead, it came back. That is the circle we must build and scale. Tonight, I'm not selling you an instrument. I'm asking you to imagine the impossible. Imagine what is possible. A nation where capital builds companies, keeps the wealth it creates inside the country to build more opportunities. A nation where your investment is both an income stream and a lasting social gift. The choice is before us. To be the builders or bystanders. If you feel the tug, the quiet insistence in your chest, take one step this week. Watch the previous talk about the 10,000 crore engine. Share it with one friend. Ask one question in your group. Learn one sentence about venture portfolios. Because ideas need action. Passion needs a vehicle. Hope needs a funder. Dare to be a part of the circle that keeps value here in our homes, in our towns, in our schools. Dare to turn remittances and savings into something that multiplies wealth and multiplies smiles. We have the people. We have the will. We can build the fund. We can build the nation. Thank you for listening till now. And I will see you in the next week as well. But don't go right now, because I'm going to give you a solution how you can do this all together. And we can have a one-on-one call, non-obligatory call either side. It is not a commitment, it is just an understanding. But next week, we step into deeper various aspects of what about the 40% fund which goes into Sone Ki Chidiya Ko Jagao centers. And also in Design Your Unicorn, like, Tuesdays, listen about how we will pick startups, how we manage risk, how ordinary investors become extraordinary builders of legacy. You can check Men of Legacy Sundays, Women on Purpose Wednesdays, Women on Purpose Thursdays, and various different aspects to learn more about that. NRI Legacy, somewhere we will start the angel investment programs again, more and more detail. Now let's understand about this. Why startups are the greatest wealth creators of our time. How ordinary people have kind of transformed their wealth from thousands to millions. And why retail investors and angel investors can also join this opportunity now. Why investing in the next 100 unicorns of India is not just about money, it's about building a legacy. All these startups like Zomato, Nykaa, Paytm, Byju's, Flipkart have one thing in common. They were very small startups once. And who believed in them early didn't take much money. They built generational wealth. A 10 lakh investment in Zomato's early round turned into 224 crores in 11 years. Early Flipkart investors saw 100x plus returns. Even smaller startups acquired or scaled created 50x, 200x plus returns. Friends, startups are not just businesses, they are wealth multipliers. And India is the startup capital of the world today. At least the third largest startup ecosystem, and aiming to become the startup capital of the world today. With 100 unicorns already, and the next 100 and probably another 200 are waiting to be funded. But here is the problem. Until now, access to these opportunities were restricted. Only venture capitalists, big angel networks, and HNIs got in. Ordinary investors were left out. That's why we created a Wealth with Purpose Venture Capital Fund, where your minimum entry is just 5 lakh rupees. And if you want to get into only social venture fund, it's just 50,000 rupees. But for investing into venture capital fund is 5 lakh rupees. Diversified portfolio of 10 to 20, maybe more. We have already invested in first 12 startups. We are adding Super 30. We will adding 1,200 into startups. And then go for. Your investment will be one time, but your growth will be multiples. Focus on 100x plus scalable ideas in EdTech, FinTech, HealthTech, AgriTech, GreenTech, Space Tech, drones, autonomous vehicles, LLMs, AI, so many, metaverse, AR, VR, professional screening with our Design Your Unicorn framework, support from mentors, Rotary, Chambers of Commerce, government. This way you don't pull all eggs in one basket. Risk is minimized by diversification. You get access to the same opportunities as top venture capitalists in the country. And the best part, 60% of the profits created in this startup portfolio are tied back into the 10,000 crore Wealth with Purpose engine. So your wealth grows while funding schools, health hubs, and environmental projects. That's what makes this unique. Startups create wealth, SKCKJ centers create purpose. Together, it's unstoppable. Now, let me address your biggest fears. Aren't startups risky? Yes, individual startups can fail, but that's why we invest in portfolio of 10, 20, 30, 100, 1,000 startups out there. Even if 2, 3 succeed, they cover all the losses and generate 100x or 1,000x or 10,000x plus wealth for you. What if I don't understand the startup? That's the beauty of this fund. You don't have to. We will teach you over a period of time how to identify these startups. You be a part of evaluation committee. You evaluate the startups yourself. You learn how to do that. You bring more and more deals for the network. We grow together. Our Design Your Unicorn methodology will be taught to you, and you can become an expert partners, due to which you do the due diligence, mentoring, scaling for these startups. You simply invest and monitor. If you don't have time, don't spend time, but you learn about it. 1 hour in a month is the learning which we require. And you will become an expert in investing. What if this is only for the rich? No, it is not for the rich anymore. You can create a small syndicate fund. We have kept the minimum entry at 5 lakhs so that professionals, entrepreneurs, NRIs, and families who want to build legacies can join. So instead of putting your money into idle FDs or risky speculations, or even real estate which are giving negative returns, you're back India's growth story. Getting a seat at the venture capital table, you will be also considered as an expert in venture capital ecosystem with a small investment of just 5 lakh. Let's now talk about your desires. You want passive income? Do you want to be a part of something big? Do you want your family name to be remembered forever? Do you want to feel proud that your wealth builds schools, health hubs, and unicorns? This is your chance. 1 lakh people investing 10 lakh rupees will build this 10,000 crore fund. We have 140 crore people in India and around 3.2 crore NRIs across the globe. It's a huge value. But this is your chance. When you join the venture capital fund, you're not just an investor. You're a co-creator of India's next 100 unicorns. You're a legacy builder whose children and grandchildren will know your name. And when history is written, you will be among the founding members of Wealth with Purpose movement. So friends, this is your opportunity today. Join the social venture fund, venture capital fund. Join the social venture fund with 50,000 rupees minimum and start your journey, or join the venture capital fund with 5 lakhs and back the next 100 unicorns with 100x plus potential. You can do anything. You can join anything or both. But remember, these seats are limited. Once this first cohort series is closed, new investors will have to wait for the next round at a different valuations. Download the ebook, click the link below in the description and comments. Reach out to me, set up your one-on-one call with me today. Subscribe to Bringle Talks YouTube channel. And here is the surprise. In week 4, I will reveal why the other 40%, the Sone Ki Chidiya Ko Jagao centers, are even more powerful than the startups. Because while startups create wealth, centers create sustainability and legacy. Don't miss it. Next Monday, 4 p.m. IST sharp. Remember, you can either dare to dream big or die wondering what could have been your billion-dollar dream. Choice is yours and your legacy begins today. Keep bringing, keep growing, and keep spreading the Bringle dream wave. Inspire others, help them achieve, and motivate them to pass it on.